Good morning, Fred.
Ah, there you are. That was so bizarre. It said you were in, and then couldn't see you, and then I go check my calendar for things, and here you are. And
Ah, I did join and then it dropped and then I reconnected, so that's probably what that was.
oh yeah, that was a simple debug.
I like the hair.
It's called my friend's not out of the bathroom, so I can't put in my hair gel yet. It's the new style.
Nice, nice.
I think it works with the kind of Washington State lumberjack kind of shirt I'm wearing.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that's what I'm seeing. I'm like, hey, that looks more local than I'm used to.
It's so funny. I've often heard the reference to the great state of Washington. So whenever I mention Washington now, I have to say, yeah, no, I'm going to the great state of Washington. It's become like the thing.
Oh yeah, it sounds a bit more grand as well.
It does. Yeah,
That's nice.
it sounds better than the Pacific Northwest, I think.
Yeah, because that's like quite a range of stuff.
Yeah, that includes too many other things. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you on Friday and having a chat about things. And of course, understand your need for a life. So that's sad, but we'll see. We'll figure things out along some lines. And of course, you need to do what you need to do. So.
I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in person. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I can't believe these two other guys in the room are going to be in the room soon as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I, I think
but more than
I
just
prefer
floating
your.
boxes on a screen.
Yeah, exactly. I think Carl, your facial thing made more. Anyway, yeah, it's all good. Yeah, Mark, you do not need to look forward to the flight. It's 11 hours, you know. I know you've flown long distances before, but just having come off it, it's a bit dreary. But it's good to be here in California. I'm getting closer. We can't hear you without digital thing across the ocean, you know. You're
I
muted, in other words. There you are.
hours elapsed time.
Yeah. Hi, Rob. I'll be seeing you tomorrow, so that's a bonus.
Today.
Tomorrow. I mean, right now, yes, but we're having lunch tomorrow, right?
No, today.
Come on, man. Really? Okay. I can do that.
Uh, Up to you.
No, I can absolutely do that. I just dragged you over my calendar from one spot to another. So yeah, that's I can accommodate that, no problem.
Okay.
I'm in Berkeley, so it'll take a bit of a drive to get down there, but yeah,
No more than an hour or so.
yeah, it's all right. It's all right. So yeah, no, it's exciting. It's gonna be interesting on. So yeah, on Friday there is a meal somewhere. I don't know if Deanie's joining us today. Let me just text her to double check. Maybe she has a little bit of time. Yeah, so yeah, a little bit of a dinner, kind of self-hosted or whatever on Friday. Then we have our 9 to 5 on the day, and then we have, for those who want to, coffee and chat morning at the Briar Rose on Sunday, and then we'll see. And then for those of us who can, there will be that factory tour, which still hasn't been finalized, but you know, that's me. Let me just check on Fabian. Where is he? Yeah, he will be. Um, just
So I have
looking.
a quick question. I just double checking. I see that I'm speaking on Saturday. Yep, okay, that's fine. So I'll put together something basically drawing on the article that just didn't make the cut about spatial hypertext and how that sort of cross cuts.
If you get bored on the flight and you finish the article late, you can also do
Well,
that.
it
It's
was,
an, it's not to give you work, but if you want to get it down,
No, it's actually because in unpacking the story, I sort of there are lots of loose ends that I sort of need to chase down that get in the way of a sort of nice tight narrative. But I was thinking because and I was thinking of Mark Bernstein's why don't we talk about spatial hypertext or something like that? And I'm thinking about, spatial hypertext too soon. It's a sort of working title, but I think there's something useful for us as we go forward now that we've got the work that Andrew's done and the work that Fabian's done in XR space, and we're beginning to see in a sense there's something tangible now to sort of begin to play around with. So we built stuff, and now we can do stuff with the stuff we built. I think there's some interesting ideas to play around with.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, which is not entirely unusual. It has happened before, but yes. On this particular strong and important point, yes. Andrew, I hope your future endeavors will include related work. What are your plans? And I don't know if the rest of you know yet, but Andrew has to upgrade his game and not just do the freelance game, so he won't be working with us next year. Well, if there's something interesting, of course, Andrew, we'll carry on a conversation. From our side, there is no closed door in any way, shape, or form. But of course, we respect your need for proper job.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. And it's funny you keep saying game because I am going into full-time game dev. So that's actually quite a crossover there. It might be in VR. I don't know. It depends on which company hires me.
Well, at least this year gave you another portfolio piece, right? That
And a
matters.
lot of fond memories for sure.
Fond memories and a full range of memories.
Full range of memories, yes.
That's good. Yeah, I took some pictures of the lab when I was there last. Made a tiny little book for Dini, which is a secret. Hopefully, she doesn't watch the video. Tiny little thing, but it's a special place. It really is a special place. That both the campus and the lab, for sure. Yeah, so updates from this side. So Author is again featured in the macOS App Store. I went into an app store, excuse me, an actual Apple store yesterday in San Francisco with my friend Kevin, whom I've known since forever, and whose beautiful Berkeley home I'm staying in. And I went to the App Store and scrolled down, and there it is on the first page next to the macOS itself. Upgrade your writing game, Author. Yay. So it means I'm pouring more money into fixing the things that irks us in that I can afford it. That's fun. And all of it is, of course, geared towards you start there and then you go into WebXR and you go back. So hopefully with the JSON structure we're working on, it'll make it a good example for anybody to do that with their systems. That's fun. Anyone else have any fun or not fun updates? Trying to read your facial expressions. And Carl, you're the most animated, so what's going on with you?
Um, well, my first book launched, it's published on Amazon like a couple weeks ago. The second book in the trilogy, because the manuscript's been done for almost a year, I'm just waiting on the illustrator to finish the cover, and I should be able to publish that one hopefully before the end of the calendar year. He's slated to be done first week in December, and I'm currently trying to find another artist to commission to work on the cover for book 3 in that trilogy, because the manuscript is like 80% of the way done on its last editing pass. So I wanted to have all 3 of them done before the end of this calendar year for stupid personal reasons, but it might not work out that way.
That is so cool. Can you please share a link to the first one in chat? And I will remind everyone, follow the link, but if you want to buy the book, as we should, don't follow the link, search for it. It's much better for the algorithm. That is
I
why,
mean, you can just search my name on Amazon. I guarantee it's the only thing that comes up.
yeah. That
It's a fiction book, not really suitable for very young children, but it's fine for most audiences.
okay, hang on, here we go. Changed to the unseen. Very cool. Young adult, what age range? Oh, it says right here, 10 to 18. Wow. It's the, hang on. It is the change to the unseen, right?
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay, cool. Just double checking because I couldn't see because I'm on a laptop display, so it's only one thing at a time. Okay. Well, that's very cool. What inspired you to this?
Briefly talks about it on the back of the book, which I don't know if you can see on there or not. But I was in a year-long D&D campaign with about 6 other people, and our DM really encouraged us to do more active world building than we normally did. So she gave us extra like in-game goodies if we wrote things either for our character or for the setting. And I wound up having enough fun doing that I just decided to turn what I was working on that we didn't get to in the campaign, and some of the stuff that we did just into a proper book. And when I was writing it, I had it broken up into a 3-act structure, very simple, straightforward kind of thing. And as I was working on it, the word count pushed past 150K, which apparently 100K is like too long for your average fantasy novel. And at 150K words, I wasn't done with Act 1 yet. So I broke it up into books 1, 2, and 3 instead of Act 1, 2, and 3. And then had to do some reformatting to account for rise and fall that takes place in a specific book, and then also the one that goes over the whole thing.
So similar origin story to Game of Thrones then.
I guess.
That was also a D&D campaign, wasn't it?
Not sure.
Fabian, to fill you in, please search the Amazon, even though it's Amazon, just to see. Carl has written a book, and it's inspired by a D&D campaign. Carl, are you on TikTok, and are you following the D&D TikToks? Because some of them are pretty funny.
I get TikToks pushed to like my other social feeds, but I don't have like a TikTok account.
Yeah, TikTok is the best. It's run by the Chinese and not by Zuckerberg and Musk. So I like this particular flavor of filtering, as it were. Anyway, yeah, no, that's very, very cool. Very, very cool, Carl. Wait, what do you mean? I guess I'm leaving already, you silly. What does that mean?
I mean, is it Xi Jinping propaganda hour?
What?
Is it Xi Jinping propaganda hour?
Oh, TikTok. No, it's not. It's just counter to. No, it's just they got some good D&D on there. Who of you here played D&D before? If your hand isn't up, you're a liar. But anyway, Mark, no. Rob, come on, you must have played some Dungeons. Really? I am shocked and horrified.
Rob could run a killer campaign though.
Yes.
It'd be the best experience. It'd be amazing.
D&D and XR would be amazing. Not where you are the character running around, but where you have a kind of a play area, like the proper in your imagination one, but augmented with the space. Have you seen
It'd be a
what's
lot better than the current stuff they have for just like calls online, because that's never immersive.
There's a couple of VR games, and if you want to go like the manual, like put in the extra effort, you can do it with Tabletop Sim. But there's a couple of XR games, one where it's basically like everyone's standing around the table and is moving miniatures. And there's another one whose name I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but you're in a first person perspective.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Sorry, things in the brain going back and forth. Fabian, we talked via email or whatever about new screenshots for what you have. Would you be ready during this meeting to demo for everyone, and I will take screenshots as you do it, or is that too early to do it now? Not right this second. If you want to spend, whatever time getting ready, I don't know. What do you feel like?
I don't know. It depends what to show basically. I did. I mean, we can always try. That's That's fine by me, as long as there is no promise of anything more. Some things can be captured, some it's a bit tricky. My hope though is still like a live demo there for people who can, and
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, absolutely. That's what we're hoping for. That's cool. Yeah, so many interesting topics coming out of this. I've noticed with my son, of course, he likes watching, and he calls it watching. He doesn't call it TV or movie or anything because it's physical platform independent. It's just the word watching. But when he's with a friend, then they really play. So the importance of children to not be stuck in front of screens is obvious. We all know that. But I would really like him, when he gets a bit older, to start with something like Dungeons and Dragons. The amount of imagination you have to do, problem solving, it's really kind of amazing. So if technology can now contribute to that rather than take away from it, that's not a bad thing. I mean, some of those social media posts about Dungeons and Dragons, some people, the play table is a display, right? And they have things around the room as well. They have music and everything. So you don't just have a paper map, which is cool, but things change underneath the little miniatures and stuff. There's opportunities there. Yeah. Okay. Let's just go a little bit through the weekend then. So, who's coming in on Friday? Fabian, you're on Wednesday, right? Yeah. So Rob's coming Friday. Carl, you're coming Friday, right?
Yeah, I don't know when my itinerary like shows that I'm gonna get. It's gonna be late on Friday when I show up.
Okay. Yeah, there is that dinner, and I have to ask Dini again to remind me of where it is. I'll put it on our website. For the symposium part of the website now, we'll have specific information because I didn't want it to be open to just random people walking in, but that's not going to happen now. Mark, when are you coming?
I get in, I wheels down about 4:30 local on Friday.
Oh, okay, so that's a bit late. And you're flying via what?
I'm coming direct from Heathrow.
Heathrow to Portland.
Yeah.
That's very convenient. That's very good. Yeah, excellent.
Well, that's that's just the one flight a day. So the timing is as it is. No, I agree. It would have been nicer if I'd probably got in a bit earlier, but I didn't really have the choice.
Yeah, that's fine. And we do have as you may have seen on Slack, we do have a schedule for the day now, but there aren't that many points that are completely hard and fast. And I think it's still a little up in the air for one or two people whether they're coming and whether they're presenting. But we will do as always. There will be 10 minutes to present, and then 5 minutes of dialogue or not. We don't need that much dialogue. It's great if it happens because in the afternoon we have a big slot for general dialogue. So we really just extend into that. So we'll see how it is per piece. Sorry, it's a bit loud here. That's rubbish day, so there's huge things outside. Any other updates before we request again, Fabian, prepare to amaze? Okay, just update 2, Fabian, then first. My programmers are working flat out this week on all kinds of issues because authors again featured on the App Store, which is really nice. I can pay them extra to work extra. So the issue of, to tell everyone what Fabian wants in the JSON from the book is the page range of each article, which is really, really nice, but it's actually quite hard to define because we have. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's better, Carl. Excellent. The page range will have to be from when there is an assigned author to a next assigned author. And that can be, no, actually, it's probably just level 1 headings, isn't it? Okay. I'll note that down. I've been confusing myself. Sorry, guys. JSON is very cool when it works. Right. Anyone have anything specific, or should we ask Fabian to show and tell? Can I contextualize again, Fabian, a little bit for the guys, but also mostly to make sure you and me are on the same page?
Yeah, because I'm quite curious to hear what I'm showing.
As I've been telling several close friends over the last few days, you're going to show the future of what knowledge is. And in less French terms, I will say it is the workflow is someone's can be on a normal traditional computer, like Author, which is our test case. And they export a JSON and a PDF. JSON as a sidecar or main thing, whatever you prefer. It goes to the environment that you've built. Your system then parses the PDF based on the JSON, including cutting it into chapters, which is what we're trying to figure out now. If we can put in the JSON where the page one headings are, should be possible. They then close their laptop or whatever, and then they're in the world that you've developed for this. And what we hope to see in the great state of Washington on Saturday is a corner of the room where on one wall, all the articles are shown, probably just the first 2-page spread or single page of each article. You can walk up to them and pinch to pick them up and move them to the second wall if you want, where the second wall is more of a thinking layout, spatial hypertext murder wall. And that's really it. And what that can mean in the future, I think, is quite phenomenal, because you will have a JSON describing the room so that this can go back to the subservient 2D flat application afterwards, which will then choose to deal with these two walls as one wall or two walls or whatever. But this will allow us to do the memory palace and 3D thinking space. And because we don't have the constraint of also serving the vision, this can be an AR. So we have the room, and we can then walk. It doesn't just mean we use the walls, it also means we can build things in space easier. Am I right, Fabian?
Conceptually, yes, but there are plenty of things in there that I can't show. So that's the goal. Some of it for sure will be shown on. I mean, for sure should be shown on Saturday. But some of it is risky, unexpected. We'll see.
Can you please? Oh, well, okay. Could you go through the risky or not sure issues? It's really good to have them kind of noted.
Well, I mean, for everything that doesn't exist is risky or not sure. Even everything that exists now is still risky because it's a lot of moving pieces.
Okay, why don't I just hand it over to you? This is being recorded. And then we can maybe cut this as being a little bit preview demo. Would you like or would you not like the room to ask clarifying questions as you go along?
No, sure. Ask whatever you want, whenever you want.
Okay, I think I'm done with my talking in the intro there. So anybody else have any questions before Fabian shows? So this is going to be on a Quest device, AR, corner of the room demo on Saturday, some of it. Fabian, take it away.
Right, so I'll try to share my screen. I'll stop notification first. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
It's trying, and there we are, can see.
So the first thing that I'm going to not show but say is that it's a kind of a little change of paradigm, which is to say that files are important. And that has, I want to argue, rarely be the case even on mobile, but even less on VR devices. we have apps that manage files, but they hide the files away. So basically, I'm starting a little server, which is called a very creatively Future of Text Loan Companion app. And when I open it, so you'll have to imagine here that I'm opening it on my VR headset, and I get something like this, which shows a couple of things. What's on the right, there are actual files or icons with the file names. And to prove it to you, I'll go to the directory matching that, which is the public directory here. And so there are a bunch of files here. Some that actually don't exist that I can delete safely. And what I can try to do is copy one here, give it another name. And then you saw here, the view was updated with that 3D model appearing on the left. So again, the idea is you're on the VR headset, and right away, if there are files dropped in that specific folder, they're brought however they can be to VR. And however they can be is important. Here, GLB is a 3D model that is, let's say, native to 3D and VR, but a PDF is not. So a PDF is going then to become those images. They're going to be converted automatically. Here you can see in the back that, oh, there was a new file detected. It doesn't need any conversion. I'm just going to serve it. Hence this new file line there. Does it make sense?
Everyone's nodding their heads, right? Yeah, cool.
So what makes it also interesting is we can we have other files here that you see on the left. I hope the layout files, and that's why they have little 3D icons on top of them. And the layouts, for example, means those little yellow post-it notes. They are not in that icon grid. Rather, they are positioned in space. And if I refresh, they're going to be in that same position. Same, I can open it. So this one is called default.layout.json because that's the layout that's going to be open when we start the experience. But it's just like the other, it's just a file. So for example, here, there is a file called companion architecture, which is here on the back, which explains roughly how the system works. And what I can do is I can put it, for example, I don't know, I'm going to put it much higher, just to show the difference. And I save it. Here it's not live reloaded because there is not live in the file name. So I need to refresh. And now it's, I know, it's further on the back. Sorry, this the axis. So it's much smaller because it's further on the back. Does it still make sense?
Absolutely.
It did live reload, so maybe I'm. Yeah, okay. This one, I guess, supports live reloading. That's convenient, unexpected, I think, but yeah, okay, that works. Maybe to rename the file. So yeah. Now, for what you mentioned about metadata, specifically, so I can open, let's say, a PDF. So the files that are a bit big, let's say, for example, there are numerous pages on them. They can be open in a viewer. So, I know, that's not, I believe, I would do it by pinching in VR, but here in, I'm imagine that I'm in the headset, so I need to imagine that I'm pinching on that file. Yeah, so that's the trickier part is I don't remember exactly which books are available there. Yeah, because I cleaned up the directory. So So I think, yeah, this, well, not sure why, but that took a bit longer. So this here is a viewer because it has those extra comments. So I can go to the next page, I can close it, I can clone the current page, and I can freely move it around. I could go to the next page or the previous page. So that's the viewer for that document, so the PDF augmented paper.
Fabian, can I ask you,
Yeah.
when this PDF appears, can you make it appear in front of the others, not behind it? As in, please?
So in VR, yes. Right now it's a bit tricky because I don't have my hands, so I can't. But I can also hide all the icons. I can do other things. So in VR, yes. Right now it's a bit difficult.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Like in the middle of the document, there is an anchor, and if I pinch like right dead center in the document, I can freely move it.
But can you make it a default that it appears a little in front rather than behind?
Yes, but it's so. Just also to clarify, this is so the environment you see is a set of prototypes put together, and here at some point, for example, I was not showing this morning. I was showing the learning stations.
Right.
So yeah, they need to be toggled on and off. So maybe somebody doesn't show the icon and they see the PDF. So it's supposed to be modular enough to handle this kind of situation, but it's not also like detecting.
Thank you. Last thing, since we're now in the VR view, could you make that window bigger so I can take cleaner screenshots later, please?
Yeah.
We don't need to see your desktop, or do we?
Here, I think it's nice if you see the file when I drag and drop them.
Can you make the view on the left at least bigger so there's less of the one on the right, just in terms of the screenshots?
Like so.
Thank you.
But you see, so here I moved the document, so now we don't see the icon in front. But the UI, so those comments to switch to the next page, etc., they are not shown anymore. But they can be moved also freely. Yeah? So now to go back, so the problem I think I will have is I don't think I have the sidecar JSON file yet with, for example, the page range or the metadata. Maybe this would work. I'm not even sure I have that file anymore. Do I have? No. So yeah, I don't have now a file with the metadata attached to it. So I can't show that part. And I don't think I have it in my test files. So normally what I would, maybe I do actually. No. Normally I would have, let's say, David Miller .pdf, and then I would try to display it with the viewer like so. It would also try to get the David Miller .exported author.json, for example, or visual meta.json, and then show the data as a post-it note on the side. But here I don't have, so I can't show that. But I'm pretty sure we have a video with it already. We should have. What I can still show you, though, then is what I worked on this morning, and that should work now. Namely that we should be able to have a gallery of the features to discover what all the or some of the features are. So all those are screenshots. So if I click by looking at the teleporter, I'm going to be teleported there. And I can look in front. Here I can cheat. So it explains here, for example, the drag and drop of the file. I can make that bigger too. And what's interesting is in here, I also have a screenshot, but I also have a bit of code snippet, so I can add or remove the gallery. And the idea would be to go from one of the experience to the next, go back if I want to, or keep on going forward, ideally in a pedagogical fashion, like gradually going to the different features like collaboration. Here are the chapters of the book. Here, coming to Remarkable, to another device, using Dropbox or other remote file system, previews, the motivation behind it, etc., etc. So that's a view of some of the features. But they would be, again, like the first one, interactive, not just the image. But yes, that's a bit of a walk. Voilà.
But don't stop sharing, don't stop sharing. Obviously, fantastic. What do you feel are the most important things to show, considering we can't do everything necessarily for every person? What do you really want to get across?
So I did a demo that was about encompassing, not now, but before, and I think it needs like an hour or two. So it's obviously way too long. So it depends on the number of person who would be interested in trying. I think to me, the most important or the most novel, arguably, it's not necessarily the most technically advanced or sophisticated, but it's basically bringing a file in. So I think if somebody can see this action of taking a file, dropping it in there, and seeing the result in the headset, and eventually being able to manipulate it, I think that's good. And maybe the part where also when they get that view, so I can show it briefly now.
I have a few questions about the actual presentation. So after this, yes, please, for that.
So I take a text file, for example, this one. I paste it in the directory. It appears here. It doesn't appear really well. And this doesn't work. So you see, it's a great example of not everything that was initially added behaves the way we expect. Because here that is supposed to just work. Famous last quote. I'll try again. This is strange. So,
okay, time for comments and questions, or are you doing something, Fabian?
I'm doing something, but it doesn't work. So yeah, we can. Okay. Here normally it should display the PDF, and then somebody should have access to it directly. And there is no reason why it doesn't do it.
So in terms of a community discussion, I see the priorities slightly differently. The most important thing is absolutely what you said, live data, real user data. But I think in a sense, it's enough that they are told that it's real. Plus, we may have the generation of a PDF at the end. Hang on, sorry. Okay. Sorry about this. Right, okay. Yeah, so, sorry, these interruptions are just, they just had to be there. Right. Okay, so a couple of questions and requests. Are you planning you're planning on only showing the in-headset thing, right? The actual transmission of data is important, but we're not going to go through that either from a laptop or from the system, right?
I was hoping that, for example, the last part of the demo, which didn't work, was that if somebody connected, or even if my laptop is connected, I mean, of course, it's more interesting if it's their laptop, they get the PDF. So,
Right.
but again, it's same. We can say it. The problem again, we need to think about what can be said and people understand, and what is not something that they are used to or conceptualized, or is it manipulating the icons and opening? That's something they've never experienced, and it's important. It's not important necessarily, but it's different. That explaining it doesn't help.
Sure.
Versus, for example, sending PDF. I don't think people honestly they might be excited by the prospect, but they don't honestly need to experience it. Don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you stopped sharing, so I'm going to have to do a few things from memory. But what I would like to see on the day is actually, can you please try to reshare? Because just in terms of like the end user superficial visual experience, is it going to work?
But you want me to share which to share what specifically?
The XR environment.
Okay. Let me know if you see anything.
It's still trying.
Yeah. Okay. Refreshing.
Okay, thanks. Always some polishing before the day.
So where are we? Can you see my screen?
No.
Now?
Yes. Well, I can see me, which is not a benefit. Right. Okay. So I'm really grateful to have this conversation with the rest of the team here to make sure we agree. So the console on the left, there. I don't think that should be shown. I think that's confusing for the user because first of all, it looks very technical. And secondly, there may be expectation that they need to understand what's going on. Could that be moved further away or hidden, or do you not agree with that assumption?
So I'd be curious to hear what others are thinking before I say anything.
Mark, Rob, Carl, the code.
Well, I get. I get the point that Fred's making here in terms of if I'm someone who's quite new to this, I'm going to see something that's broadly that's probably is the right word, something technical that I don't quite know or understand. I think it's down to the individual how scary they find that, or indeed how objectionable they find it. And the answer is you'll find people on the entire spectrum when it comes to that. I don't have a strong view either way about hiding it. If it can sit off to one side a bit more, it might be just less present in the user's field of view and then demanding of their attention. But I can see that there is a point in having it there because you can sort of say the thing off to the left, you don't need to understand, or you don't need to worry about what that is, but that's sort of part of the thing because it's part of the control surface.
Andrew, Carl, Rob, any perspectives on the green and black?
So in order
To
to
me, it looks
determine,
like a mothership hovering overhead. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
All right, thank you, Rob. What were you saying as well, Carl?
so I guess to determine the answer to the question, is this part of the visualization appropriate for the audience? The follow-up question is, who is the target audience? Are we presenting to technical folks, academics, just random folks off the street? Like who's our general audience member?
The audience on the day will be the symposium attendees, so there will be at least 10, right, Andrew, students, I think, something like that, Deanie said.
Yeah, last I heard there was somewhere around there for students. Um, students, they cancel last minute, and then there's others who are like, "Oh my gosh, I never heard about this. I want to go."
Yeah.
So that number's moving a little. I quite like the console, but I understand how for a new user it would be um potentially confusing. I wouldn't remove it. Could we put a toggle where like it starts disabled, you can do something to bring it up? Or maybe it's small and you can increase the scale or something. Because I can see it being useful, like at least from a developer standpoint.
Well, that's the thing from a developer's perspective. That's kind of the rub here, I think. Now, in the people who'll be there would also be industry figures from especially the gaming world that Dini has invited. So, there won't be zero technical knowledge, but I do feel that for a demo, you show what you want to demo. You don't show what is a distraction as a general principle. So I would like to show as little as possible. And also, yeah, Mark, please.
Sorry, just very quickly to catch the last. I mean, in a way, if it's possible within the demo to just briefly toggle it on or off, whether you start with it off and turn it on or vice versa, which allows you to carry both halves of the audience. For those who are thinking, who want to sort of understand that there are controls behind the curtain that give the appropriate sort of control that someone from a development perspective would want. Whilst being able to sort of show that, but for as it were, the more ordinary user who's not expecting to understand what's happening behind the metaphorical curtain, that's probably something you might not necessarily need to see. I think it's about guiding their expectation of what does this black thing mean? Do I have to worry about it? As long as I think we make it plain that it's not something that everyone would necessarily need to use and understand, I think that reduces somewhat of the sort of concern.
So the question back to you then, Fabian, is for the demo user, what do you think is the benefit of showing the box on the left?
So first, it helps me if there is a problem. I can ask them, look on the left, do you see a red line? And what is it? So there is a very practical aspect to it. If there is a red line, something is off. If there is a green light, it's probably fine. Yellow, we might benefit from checking. So there is some value to it. It's not just for show, let's say. Now, it can very easily be put behind, just like the architecture. Not everybody cares about the architecture. I think being really behind, so instead of being here, it can be further back. That's trivial. Toggling in on and off, also making it much smaller and grabbable so that people can pinch or put their face on it if they really want to read. So that means that either everything works well, which, as you have seen before, is probably unrealistic, or that they at least can follow the instruction about like, hey, can you turn around? Like, what does it mean, turn around? Where is it? And you see a red line. So there is something to it. One argument also, it's true in terms of audience, is like, if there is 50% of developers, let's say the students and people from the guest of the gaming industry and this kind of things, I think those 50%, well, it's just a rough estimation, I don't actually know, they would like it. They're like, oh, I got some potential understanding of it. It's something I think the console, most people who are programming, they hit issues, and thus they love the console because that's the string back to a potentially working state. So I think it's important. I don't think it should be like boom, right front and center, which is also why normally I show you it's a bit closer to this. It's not like that. So, but it can be moved. It can be toggling is a little bit trickier because again, if we need to untoggle or toggle something to get feedback when something doesn't work, it's risky.
Okay, no, those are incredibly good points. So it actually leads into my second and last major point here. And that is, ideally we'll be showing this in AR, so the room will be visible. It will be in the corner, so behind these documents will be the actual wall. So what I would really like is to see the corner. So either we have the two different kinds of icons on two different walls, or we have a rectangular or a free-form drop area for that murder wall kind of thing. And if we do something like that, it would be entirely reasonable for this console to be on the second wall off to the side, and maybe even have a title above it that says, please look here if there's an error or something like that. We could even give it a title maybe, I don't know. Or at least tell them what it is. But right now it is in the spot for you as a developer, not so much for a demo, of course. What do you think?
Again, the more unstable the demo, the more likely the console is to be used.
Right.
And if we talk about things that are not implemented there yet, so here you can see I moved the wall, let's say, of the chapter of the book.
Yeah.
So they're there now. I can just as easily, so the console is here. So I can put it further back, but at least further behind. And I guess I want to save this. So now it looks a bit more like a corner, and the console the other way around. So
this is exciting, guys, to see it all live.
And all wrong, but it's okay.
Of course.
Why is it? Just this.
Okay, I get it.
What did I do? So anyway, I'm not going to keep on turning. So here we have the front wall. Here we have the chapters. Those should be in the back. I guess it's timing issues. Is it better this way anyway? Icons, chapters. I don't put them here because now I have the potential viewer mode with the lessons, let's say, the learning stations.
Well, let me put it to you this way, Fabian. For me, what you have now is absolutely insane, okay? So for someone to put on the headset, be in that corner of the room and see on one wall icons and be explained these are real icons in a real computer, you can open them if you want. Two, on the left, you have one document in one view spec that you can pull out pages and do a few things about. And oh, by the way, over here on the left, there's the actual control panel for it, so to speak. That in itself is really powerful. And having this connected with what Andrew has as a sit down in the other corner, where you have a full X-Men level 360 view of your document, really shows two entirely different approaches to XR. And I think they combine each other just beautifully. So don't add too much technical stuff that will break it, Fabian. It is already highly communicating of the work that we are doing.
So I don't touch anything anymore.
Yeah, I know I'm talking to entirely deaf ears. You're not going to take that advice under any kind of consideration, considering your continuous effort. But yeah, no, it is very, very exciting. I mean, the goal that we're trying to, as a community with the future of tech, the goal of this whole entire symposium is to open up people to, first of all, oh yeah, I can do some of my work in XR, and it can be useful. Two, it fulfills my requirements of being able to see things that I know, documents and things. Oh, great, I have some additional view specs. where can we go further? Right? More than that just gets really overloading the person's brain. Mark Anderson, raised hand, view.
I've got a quick question. I noticed I'm speaking after Fabian, but I think the actual full demo is later in the day. So will Fabian, in your sort of talk, will you be touching on this stuff at all? I'm only asked, there's no hidden agenda to it. It's just one of the things I think is quite interesting that's raised by the sort of tool set and the environment you're showing is allowing us to consider how we structure our documents to make it easier for us to work in the new environment we have. Because it's easy to say, oh, well, it'll be better in the future, and it will, but the future is an unknown commodity and it might be a very long time. As opposed to start thinking, well, just because I do things a certain way, that's because that's past practice. So what are the past practice is habit and what is actual necessity? Because if we put the habit on the possible change shelf, that opens up ways that we can think about. If I want to make some textual thing, I might basically store it electronically a different way to make it more malleable to some of the really interesting data crossovers that your demo provides. So will you have shown any of that in your talk? It doesn't matter if you have or haven't, just okay, if you have, that's good. Thank you.
Yes, the hope there, the idea for the talk would be, I want to say, to tease a little bit the demo, to invite people to come to the demo, and for it not to be like an ad or something like this, like just come to the demo. It would be like the design principle behind it. For example, saying that files are important, like basically most of it is done because files are there. I want to argue that two things are there. One, files are important, and if we hide the way files from people, I mean, just silly also, because we on desktop manipulate files all the time. So let's just admit that, let's say. That's one part, and then a couple of examples. Let's say the layout files, and then the styles files, and then the metadata files. I mean, all this works. And the other aspect, which is why the console is it's not something I want to remove. I can push it further back, but I don't want to remove it. Code itself is important. There are not buttons. They are like code snippets that people can move around and manipulate, because that's how the thing works. And if we want people to be able to manipulate files but differently, however they want, I think not hiding code at least helps me. I don't know if it would help non-developers, but I think if they can look inside the engine, and eventually it's like one tiny step to potentially tinker more or do more, I think it's worthwhile. So that would be, let's say, the two main points. And through this, like a couple of examples of why I think it's important and how I believe it helps. That would mostly, I believe now, that would mostly be the talk. And one part that would be interesting, maybe to conclude, but I'm not sure if it's really a good idea because it might be a bit early for this, is the discussion we started to have last time, namely that indeed, if you want to integrate, let's say, the output of such a system, for example, a layout.json file into Tinderbox, into a Canvas application, into whatever, here is how you want to do it. Because the input part it's not true, but it's like toss whatever you want in it. Is it PDF? Is it SVG? Is it Excel file? Like quite a new file formats are supported, like in a flattened way, but still you can do something with it. So arguably supported. But in terms of output, there is just a couple. So maybe, that would be basically how to make it part of your workflow if you're interested in it. I think that would be, I mean, let me know if you believe for the audience that would be, I don't know, too conceptual or too technical or not enough. But that's what I had in mind.
Well, just quickly, I mean, I think what's interesting there is I think it's a good sort of question to lay before the audience, given the sort of range of people we'll have, because some of them have sort of, in a sense, been playing in this area and around technology for a long time. and it's just teasing the what if, because I think there's a tendency for all of us when we're working in a sphere, you sort of get a picture of in your mind's eye what it's going to be, and you tend to build within that framework. And it's just the thing of teasing and saying, yeah, is there a sort of a better or an alternative way of doing this, or something that something that roots around a roadblock we have now, and if we don't even have to if we don't have to work around it, because essentially the roadblock is gone, it's one more thing we don't have to build. So it's having a flexibility of approach to things that are essentially our habit and custom at the moment.
Just writing our schedule, guys. In terms of presentations, that's a good question, Mark, to Fabian. So the schedule can still be edited, of course. We have to decide what makes sense in what order. Let me just save this and give you a link to how it looks right now. 1 second. Because I was just adding the bits about the Friday and Sunday stuff. Oops. That was just to... Here we go. Just going to compact that a little bit now that it's a live event rather than a planned event. So can you see it down on the page there, the schedule bit?
Yeah.
So part of the point here is if you look at it backwards, so if we look at it at the end of the day, so 5:30, 7:30, there's a reception, which may be enough for dinner. If we, oh, hello, Brandel. Cool background. I just pasted in a link here to the schedule and so on the weekend. So we were just wondering a little bit about what makes sense for speakers. But at the end of the day, roughly 2:30 to 4 will be XR experiences. And within that, we'll get some tea served, which is nice. And then between 4 and 5, we're thinking it will be everybody back to discuss the things. That's kind of a vital part of the day. How do you feel about the timing for that? By the way, Brandel, I'm coming down to see Rob tomorrow. So if you have any time tomorrow, that would be fun. I'm up in Berkeley for the duration.
Yeah, tomorrow I am basically bookended at work. So first in the morning and then back from 4 to 5. Yeah, let me get back here. Right.
Yeah, cool. Right, so Fabian, in your speaking slot, first of all, you don't even have to have one if you don't want to have one. The reason I'm saying that is the opposite of trying to be cruel. It's because before the XR experiences, we should spend a few minutes telling people what they are. So both Andrew and Fabian should have an opportunity to give an impression. You know, not like, Andrew, nothing you have to prepare or anything like that, but literally stand up as like, hello, if you don't know me, I'm Andrew. My experience is sit down and experience this, please come over here. Just something like that. Similar to Andrew, to I guess what we did in Poland. So I'm sure Dini will also be part of that bit. Do you have any thoughts on that, Fabian, how it fits with your wanting to speak and present and so on?
Well, I'd rather speak because it forces me to step back a little bit. Because honestly, for the last few weeks, it's been like more and more moving pieces, and it's exciting. I like it. This is what I do. It's again not good for my sleep, but it works. But at some point, I do need to step back and think a bit more in terms of both concepts, like what's actually happening, why does it even work, and where to go next. And I think for this, being a little bit forced to do so with an audience is good. Indeed, I can't just like, hey, bam, here's stuff. I need to explain a little bit the why, the how, and why it is even interesting in the first place. So I'd rather do talk. And also because if everything goes to shit in the afternoon with a demo, at least the presentation of what it's supposed to be, and that some of you have seen, thus know it's real, at least it might lead to interesting ideas, even if the demo itself is a failure. So I'd rather keep on talking.
Okay. That's good. I'm just going to give you a new link for this. That makes sense. But I'm wondering now, hang on a second, because that was the invitation page. I'm going to give you just a schedule page. So please, when do you want to speak, Fabian? Let's start with you, because it goes up. Andrew, do you want to speak? You're very welcome to if you want to. As in present.
I don't think I have to. Besides, of course, the introduction, I think that's important on like what this is and what to expect. Um, yeah, I don't need like an actual slot to talk.
Okay.
I'm happy to talk first because then it's done and I can listen to other people talking. So if I can keep that spot, and I don't think it's going to like bring people off the rails, I'd rather keep it.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so that was easy. So any of you other speakers want to comment on where you are currently listed? I am guessing that is a no.
Oh, yeah. I'm psyching myself up for something to say.
Are you happy with where you are in the program?
Yeah, no particular objection. I mean, I need to make it whatever can be made clear that I'm there in a personal capacity and not representing anything, especially if there are rumors circulating about anything. I don't have the capacity or interest in commenting on any rumors.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Horn will be there, and he will not speak, but he will be there as an active part of the audience. So this is the whole point of the future of text. Yes, we need to try to open the, thanks, Mark. We need to try to make the community a bit bigger. Of course we do. But it really is for people really interested in the topic, not where someone comes from or their prior fame or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Fred, for what it's worth, I think that I'm fine with where I am, because also it means that if we are running late or something, I'm quite happy if you sort of drop me off to keep other things going. So I think that's probably a good slot. It just gives you some buffering too for the day.
I'm not buffering you off anything, Mark.
I know, but things sometimes start, not quite as fast as out the gates as we want. So.
Oh, well, the future of text has always ended at 5 o'clock on the dot. You've seen me physically remove microphones, haven't you? Yeah. So okay, let's just walk through this briefly. So breakfast, 8:39, there will be sugared pastries and stuff, which is very, very, very nice. The Washington State University Andini's lab has paid for that. Very little of this has been paid for Sloan, as is the way it should be, because they didn't say they would and we didn't ask them. Yeah, we'll just say hello. And then Fabian will say whatever you want. Fabian, if you could share your key points with me before this, that would be great, because I will be right after you. And I will probably be speaking very little, because I just want to try to make a shape for people of what this will be. So to save time, Mark, that'll be me, not you. Then we have Dini and Andrew going into a completely different XR experience, which is perfect. It widens the whole scope of what this is. That's great, Carl. Thank you. And then Mark Anderson will talk primarily about what authoring for XR, how the world is different, or what's your main thrust?
Well, there are two things really. One is I just to briefly mention that in a sense my bit part in this has been more playing around with some of the sort of background data, but really what I wanted to reflect on was spatial hypertext, which is something we've had since the 90s, and how we might usefully borrow from that with some of the, as we have some XR spaces to operate in, how we might use some of the findings in that to help us make more of the new space.
I think then I'm going to flip you with David Benjamin. Because spatial hypertext, it would be nice if it's in people's brains when they go into the demos.
Okay, sure.
Flipping the script here, everyone. Right, so if you want to reload, you can. It's done. But anyway, so we have then David Benjamin, who has been a part of the future of text community for years and years. I still don't know what he does, which is great. Very much like Peter Silko, as in it's the kind of mind expanding, different direction, what's going on, questioning, which is very useful. Then we'll have coffee and so on. And then we'll have Mar from Google. No idea what she'll be talking about. I'm very grateful she's coming. Ken Aarhus, very much about hand interactions, I believe, which is very specific and cool. Then we have Carl. Carl, what will be the main thrust of what you're going to be?
I have my slides that I'm doing a 10-minute presentation on for my algorithms class this week on Wednesday. So it may be a bit brief. I may need to move a couple of slides, but the main thing I'm talking about is the XR interface that I'm working on, and a very brief history of like other examples of other typing methods in VR and why they're bad. Just with this much data, just enough to comparatively like stack them next to each other and say, yes, these suck, but how much do they suck?
Fantastic. That fits really well in there. And then we have Jessie, no idea what she'll be talking about, but she's doing very cool related work. And Brandel, do you know what you'll be talking about? Will you be talking about the model element? That would be really nice for one thing.
Oh, no. I will not be talking about anything remotely close to what I do for work. I would probably, I've just been really thinking a lot about the long history of text and how it's changed and how much it could change in the future. So I think if there's nobody covering the history of text and how it changed us, then I'd love to sort of paint it on those terms. Because yeah, like we've had a long time, but as Rob and anybody who's read over the long history of it it's not the same thing as it was. It's not like even 200 years ago, let alone 600 years ago. And what's thinkable with text has changed what we are. So yeah, that'll be my jam.
That's perfect. I am now moving you. You're going to be right after Vince. Because if we look at it, then there's Ryan, who won the student competition. And then we'll have Kent, who I guess will be talking about wider XR issues, Fabian, something like that, right? Yeah. And so then we'll have, hang on, WordPress is acting up a bit. Right. So then there's a bit of lunch and chit chat, everybody chit chat as much as possible. Then we have Vint Cerf. I think it's fitting that he's coming in over the internet, considering he's the internet guy. He's not going to be presenting anything. It's a fireside chat. So if we can all have some questions for him, that would be very, very nice. He really wanted to come to the event, but he just couldn't. Right. So then after that, Brandel, if you talk about text and how it's changed, that's fantastic. Do you want to still be called spatial web specialist?
I mean, I think it's accurate. I mean, I'm a text technology enthusiast is also reasonable. Um, but
I'm very happy to leave it. Very happy to leave it. Then we have you, Mark, and you're going to be talking about spatial hypertext things, which is
Yeah,
great.
I think that will fit neatly with what Brandl's just mentioned, because in a sense the one flows into the other, because essentially the point will already have been made that things aren't what they used to be. And in a sense, what I think I'll be teasing that forward is saying, okay, let's be open-minded as to what that might be.
Yeah, perfect. And then between 2:30 and 4, we have our experiences with afternoon tea in the middle, closing discussion for an hour, and then there's a reception that's at the nearby wine bar with canapes and all of that. It's probably enough for dinner. But if there is a need for further dinner, there are places around the corner we can go. On the Sunday, for those who are available, there is a discussion. Some of us were talking about the timing earlier today, but it's already been decided it's 11 o'clock in the morning. I put it down for 2, but that's entirely arbitrary. In case people want to go for a walk or do things, it shouldn't feel as heavy as the first day. But if we want to stay longer, we can, whatever. And then some people on the Monday, there will be the factory tour. So that'll be fun. Now,
What time is it on Monday, please?
yeah, I had a feeling you would ask that. Either 2 or 3 p.m. And it's going to be an hour and a half. Yeah. Who is going on the factory tour? Oh, okay. Rob?
I'm leaving Sunday. My plane leaves at 1:45, so I'll probably have to leave around 11:30.
Okay. Carl, are you around on Monday?
I'm leaving like first thing Monday morning is when my plane leaves.
Okay, fair enough. Andrew, what are you doing on Monday? Are you coming?
I wasn't planning on coming because it's just a work day for me. Um, I could potentially look into changing my schedule. I don't know if I can get it off yet. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Do you need a commitment now, or is it like someone else can pop in if they can?
No. End of the day commitment today. I have to email them the affiliations, and then it's a kind of a top kind of protective facility, whatever. But if you tell
I
me
got you.
by the end
Okay.
of today, that would be good.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll be up in Dini's lab doing basically old hypertext stuff on Monday.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Unfortunately, I'm aware you and Dini will be busy having a life while we hang out at the factory. So here's another thing. In the schedule, it's an entire hour for Vint. And I don't know, I mean, it's really nice that he's lending his kind of glamour, so to speak, to the event. But that's a lot of time. So I think we can do some of the discussion in front of him, so to speak. So if there's some point you want to make, you don't have, unless it's in the first 15 minutes. There's nothing wrong with rambling a bit and having him comment on it. Right, so it is yet another speaking opportunity. He doesn't have that much to contribute to this. He just wants to contribute with his presence, and of course he's interested in the topic. So let's not have too much dead air on that one. And then I think finally on this bit, I'm looking at Fabian's note here. Roughly key points: files matter, text and XR including code matters, multimodality matters, interoperability. I would probably emphasize it slightly different. And in my little bits, that's what I will do. And I just want to see, Fabian, if you're happy with that. I think the interoperability is crucial. If you don't have real data in a headset, you're not working. You're just playing. That's so key. And it's ignored by almost everything. And files matter, I completely agree. But what we are dealing with here, as I think Brandl will also talk about, we're talking about the spatial placement of knowledge. Right? We are liberating, or in the book, in the introduction, I call what we're going through now the great unfolding. Text is being unfolded off the page, even though it's great to read on a page, a small bit of text. That's the really big thing. And so the fact that you start with these 2 walls with knowledge is great, but it is the whole spatiality that you are unleashing. Fabian, yes.
it's interesting. We're going to argue there and then and now also. It's I want to say files matter more because well, for two reasons. Number one, it works. Like the prototypes, arguably again show that like by playing with files, we can do quite a few things that I think until recently were conceptualized but not actually done. And I think when you say moving knowledge around, we all understand, but again, we haven't really done it, arguably. And here, I want to argue that by moving those files, including different representation, their content, or their icon that represent their content, all this, it actually exists. And I think, and spatially, not like a list of things or whatnot, like the actual icons and the content. So I will still argue for the difference between file. It says a way to implement knowledge. It works. So I don't want to give up on that.
That's great. So we fully, completely, and utterly agree. I think the encapsulation of knowledge is really important. And if we only look at encapsulation of knowledge as text, in a sense, in this context, it's almost meaningless. So the fact that it is within files is really, really crucial. We talked recently about the importance of having the file icons as things you can move about. But yes, of course, what is inside them is also important. So I don't think that's a difference of opinion at all, I'm afraid, Fabian. We'll have to find something else to fight about. Mark.
I was just thinking, sort of listening to some sort of phrases being used. I think something that is worth drawing out earlier in the day is that sort of text in XR, much like writing on a page, is not one thing. And two good examples of that, of very different things, are sort of using, say, XR as a memory palace against using it as an information exploration space. They may even look the same, you know, if you look at somebody else's work doing that, but they're doing different things. And it doesn't matter that they're doing different things, but I think it is important to steer people away from the notion that just as in our existing work, that the one is doing just one thing in VR, sorry, in XR. Whereas the new medium is actually helping us to do things we already do, these different things we do, but in some new and interesting ways. Because I'm sure that various members of the audience will probably cleave closest to one or other of those notions. And I think it's useful for them to be situated in the fact that, okay, even if, say, you might be very interested in sort of memory palaces and recall and that kind of thing, it is not antithetical to the fact that other people might be doing completely exploratory work where we don't know what anything is, and the whole point of exploratory work is to find out what it may be, and obviously all the things in between.
I hope these points will be highlighted on Saturday. Right, the way that I sell it to friends at the moment is literally holding bits of knowledge, and then I try to talk about the whole notion of it's like moving an icon on a desktop, because people understand that. And the icon in itself can communicate a lot, but of course, if you can open the thing, that's a whole different thing. And how you connect them, the link thing, that both local links and internet links are crucial, because it's easy to make a mess. But the thing is, what are we really trying to do on Saturday? We're really trying to help more people understand that, first of all, it is possible to do work. And secondly, like Mark just eloquently said, what that means, we have no clue about. There are some established things we're probably going to do in there, and there will also be entirely new ways of doing it. So I think that's really wonderful. Now, for the sake of connectedness, Fabian and Andrew, are we going to have a link between the two demos? I think it would be nice if, for instance, in Fabian's world, there is a document that is only a link as a demonstrator. So if the person tries to open that, and it appears like you can have a link on the desktop, like a clipping. It says, would you like to open this in the other environment? And they can do that and then go back out, because we have two different demos. But would we like to do something like that? Or should it
Will
just be a
the
spoken thing?
will the default environment be the uh sorry, the feature of text book still for like for both of us? Or is that just the default environment for MySpace? I'm trying to think of where they could connect.
Both.
And there's also the counter argument of um, while it would be amazing to have them both linked to each other, and I think they should at some point, for this demo, I think we both want to be able to respond to the people demoing our work, because I won't be able to give Fabian, like people demoing Fabian stuff feedback, and potentially vice versa. So if someone in my demo goes to Fabian's demo in my headset, I can no longer help them. That might cause problems.
Oh yeah, 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 absolutely. No, that's really, really valid, Andrew. I'm not saying that suddenly people should be in the other demo, but I think it would be nice to demonstrate a connection, and we could even have, for instance, in Fabian's, there's an icon. They double tap on it or something, and what happens is up pops a thing that says, "This is a link that would normally go to Andrew's work, but why don't you walk across the room afterwards instead?" Kind of a thing.
And then we enable it after the symposium so people can view them online and it then links properly
I'm
or
look,
whenever these go live.
looking at Fabian's, I'm counting his furrowed brows now to see if that's, well, it could be just a link because you have the save state now, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that could work.
And then also from your work, Andrew, if on the spare on here, if we can make the library a link to go back out to Fabian in exactly the same way. So for now, it'll says, someone taps on that, it just pops a message saying, this would be a link to your room environment, which is disabled. Please walk across the room.
Hmm. Yeah, because right now the library ball doesn't do anything by tapping it. Of course, the trigger is still there. So just tap it and have it give like a notification.
Yeah. Sorry, hang on. Just saw a message from Dini. I think it's on Slack. I just need to update her. Sorry. But yeah, Fabian and Andrew, amongst yourself, you're happy with that, right?
Yeah, it's not very high stress because it doesn't have to work by the symposium. It's just like, hey, have a message. Like that's easy. I do need to at some point today before the meeting ends. I don't know when would be a good time. Um, talk about getting the information for the different essentially essays, documents, chapters, whatever they're called, papers of the book that we're going to be showing off in this space because I need to convert that over into the JSON catalog.
Okay, 1 second. I'm just replying to Dini, who asked a question about the schedule.
Just a quick thing for Andrew, in case it's something that ends up looping via me, I'll have till basically end of day Thursday UK, if needed in the loop on that, and then basically I'll be.
Mark, you are like super quiet on my headset. I'm not sure
Oh,
why.
sorry.
Yeah, you're not mic'd by your normal mic. Or
Oh, that's not good. I apologize. I will do.
I was like, I don't think anybody else sounds different, but
Right.
don't know if you've gone out to karaoke or something, but
But it makes we can't really hear you anymore. But your voice is nicer, so I didn't say anything.
it was very smooth, I think. 'Cause, yeah,
I've been accused of many things in the past. Yes, right.
perfect.
Is the sound any better now?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
understand
yeah,
you.
that's exactly normal.
I know what happened. I had to do a call on. It's a weird thing about Zoom. It insists on having its own sound ecosystem, which catches. I had to do a call on headphones the other day, and obviously I hadn't reset it. My apologies. So to quickly circle back, so until close of play UK, if you need anything, assistive in terms of data and HTML stuff, you can give me a prod.
Okay, thanks. I need to just see where the papers are. I don't even know what they look like right now. I don't know their state or anything of the sort. So, like I can take just base text and convert the whole thing into HTML and do all of that. I know we have tools in place that can do that faster. Um, so that'll probably be something I chat with you about, Mark. Um,
Yeah, I
but I
mean, well, Freud's got the master document, so at the moment I'm sitting on nothing. All I'm saying is, if I can help sort of with anything on the way, just say.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so then I guess I'll let you know what I need from you at that point once I see the stuff. Um, but that's not gonna be like an oh, let me throw that together in an hour. That'll take like a good while because all the different steps and it's not yet automated. Um, so as soon as we can get those to me, that would be the best.
Okay, hang on a second. All right, just Dani on Slack, and of course I need to be in a meeting with you guys. I'll talk to her later. Right. So yeah, no, this is a me problem. I don't have the book ready, and this is the reason I'm going to the Valley tomorrow, not today. I'm going to have breakfast, go through this. What is really missing are my articles. There's some. Bob Stein is having one as well. It will be end of today for what will be presented on Saturday, end of today California time. I will give you that in all the formats. I'll make a PDF to make it sure it looks pretty on that level. There will be a JSON as far as we can currently. That will be updated on Wednesday. The guys are working on that to do the page range. We'll also try an HTML version, RTF, so we have stuff to play with. Andrew and Mark, what do you need? What kind
Um,
of format?
Ultimately, I need HTML exports with each paper in the book as a separate HTML export.
Okay, fine.
I can tackle a lot of that myself, if I can just be given the data. Like I can sit there and copy and paste text. Like that's not a big deal.
I'll try to have that done by today. It's Yeah, I'll try because also let's not forget the actual book will be probably published in December. You know,
Right. But if we want to read it in the headset, I need to get that ready.
oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah. No, I just mean that I should not be too precious. I should give you.
o-
When I was in the army, even though I was in the army, the admiral above me, I was at NATO headquarters, kept telling me, if it's too late, it doesn't matter how good it is. That was drilled into my head. So you will get the final document at the end of today. It will not be correct, but it'll be correct enough for Saturday.
okay, cool. That'll be enough.
Sounds a bit like Zelensky. I don't need a ride. I need ammunition. So yes, we'll get you the ammunition you need in time. Right. Good. Yeah, I think we made some progress there. Also, what I was replying to Dini in Slack, it is she wants to print out the schedule, and she had a Word thing, and now we have the web page thing and all of that. Of course, it's nice to hand out things to people, but maybe we should try to print some of the copies of the book. Are there facilities, Andrew, on campus where we can do that at a relatively reasonable and very fast speed, you know?
There's resources. I think they might charge for it. The problem is we have different departments on campus and they all support one another, but they don't have the same finances. So it's like if you're going to get resources from the art department and use their printers, you need to pay for ink and paper. And it's a whole thing. So Dini would know better what we have access to comfortably. Usually when she prints things like a binder or a book, she actually takes it off campus and does it at like Kinko's or something.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
was going to be my recommendation. Is surely there's just a Kinko's or something nearby.
Every time I hear that word, I think of airplane. Don't call me Shirley. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Rob Randall, I guess there's some places around Palo Alto area where I can print if I need to.
Uh, there is a Kinko's in Los Gatos I've been to. It's near the DMV. I don't know about anywhere else. Uh, I public libraries are pretty good for it as well. I don't know if there's anything at Stanford that's public like that, but certainly down in San Jose, SJSU is essentially a public library.
Kinko's near me, and I think a UPS store has printers.
Oh yeah, UPS does it as well. I've got to go there for
Very
all
close.
my governmental identification needs. And you get a US passport.
What? I was confused. Oh, Danny just texted to remind me that there is actually another speaker who last minute, talking of last minute for the book, is actually going to be a speaker, so I'm going to have to ask him. Michael Whitmore, he is well, at least he used to be, at the Folger Shakespeare Library. So he has a huge interest in that side of things. I'm going to
Cool.
have to move everything along one here then.
I'll ask Andrew because he's in the locale while Fred's editing. What's the weather in your part of the world? He said, heading as I am from a fairly mild end of autumn here in the UK.
Yeah, like as in general or as in today?
Well, just I mean, am I are we trudging around in snow or is it
No snow. Snow usually
Flood
doesn't
warning
stick
still.
until usually January, or late December at the earliest. You are gonna get cold wind and it's pretty wet. So
Okay.
it'll be
warm climate?
miserable, but it will not be brutal.
Heather has asked me to look for what to do if some of the flood warnings come true. There are more than none for the area.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good point. Usually we don't worry about it too much over here for the floods because I mean we have decent infrastructure for it. But yeah, that scare does show up periodically.
I wish I could find the picture now that I saw, which was an exercise in hope of someone, and the poor things that's happening in Spain at the moment. It was a car that they basically shrink wrapped, and then they padlocked the bumper with a chain to a lamppost. So obviously expecting some water. I'm not sure it would have worked, but hope springs eternal.
just checking the time here. I think are we good for today? Okay, I'm going to head out, get a bit of breakfast, do the book thing. I'm going to try to provide them to both Fabian and Andrew as a single volume, some metadata around, and individual documents, individual JSONs. The problem with that is Author, just like the Vision Pro headset, let me pretend I have something in common with that, is set up to be a single user experience. Every time I export a document, it uses my credentials. So I have to go in and make sure I don't mess up by having someone labeled as being someone else when we do the individual documents. Not exactly my forte, or however it's pronounced. Look forward to seeing you, most of you, on Wednesday. I believe, Fabian, you're traveling on Wednesday.
I'll be in the air. I will think about you all, but I'm not going to probably be present.
I'm sure you'll be sending updates through the satellites of, hang on, we can do this as well.
Hopefully I'll be sleeping, but we'll see.
Yes, I hope so too. Who are you flying with, Fabian? Do you know?
United.
I suggest you bring traditional headphones. Of course, I had the Vision Pro. Oh, by the way, Brandel, this Kickstarter headband is absolutely phenomenal. It means I no longer have weight here. It feels like nothing in my head now. I absolutely think Apple should have included it. Anyway, even with that headset on the flight, the stuff they have in the normal back of the thing screen is easy watching, but of course the headphones are horrible. So if you have any normal headphones that plug in a normal thing, it makes it so much better.
I have a couple of fancy noise cancelling headphones. I can't travel on a plane without this. I'll go crazy and probably attack someone or something. The noise to me is unbearable, so I have extra batteries just for this. I'm prepared, but thank you.
Well, I travel with this, which is great. Noise cancelling, fantastic. However, it doesn't connect to the back, so I'm glad you got the ones that can connect to whatever the in-flight thing. Anyway, Mark, I hope you take the same advice, and I look forward to Wednesday to see some of you. I look forward to Friday to see more of you. Just going to give you the schedule link again, if you want to copy it down. So 6:30 on Friday for those who are there for a dinner. Mark, you probably won't be there in time, so just come whenever you can, if you want to join.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I assume I'll probably head straight to the hotel just to drop stuff off.
Yeah. So whatever, and see you all on 9 o'clock on Saturday. Bye, guys.
Take care. See you soon. Bye bye.